Today on OC News, President Trump's first 100 days in office has created headlines. The Titans golf teams have been dominating the Big West Conference.
Mother's Day could look more expensive as tariffs hit the flower industry. All this and more coming up on OC News.
This just in tech news. First responder on police.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts.
I feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton.
OC News starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to OC News. My name is Jonathan Mansour.
And my name is Janet Huereca. Thank you for tuning in.
In January 2025, Donald J. Trump returned to the White House, making yesterday his 100th day in office. Trump promised an ambitious second term with a pledge to enter in a new era of American prosperity. President Trump has made bold moves on the economy. In his first 100 days, he pushed for tax cuts, rolled back regulations, and introduced new tariffs aimed at protecting American jobs. The stock market saw early gains, but experts warned of rising prices and a slowing economy. Despite the big promise, Trump enters this term with the lowest approval rating of any modern president at this stage. Supporters call it a needed shakeup, but critics call it chaos. Either way, Trump's second term is already making waves across the country.
President Donald Trump seems to be making headlines over his controversial deportation case nearly every day. President Trump suggested he has the power to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the U.S., despite multiple federal court rulings and his administration's long-standing legal position that it cannot. Abrego Garcia was deported to a prison in El Salvador in March, a move that courts later ruled was illegal. Trump now says he could bring him back, but claims, quote, lawyers don't want to do this, unquote. Trump and his allies insist Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang, an allegation that his attorneys deny. The case now questions immigration and constitutional laws and who in the U.S. government is responsible for what many are calling a mistake.
Thousands of international students face uncertainty as the U.S. begins revoking visas, sparking backlash from schools and global communities. Reporter Raylene DeLeo has more on the story.
Uncertainty grips Cal State Fullerton as federal crackdowns impact both international and immigrant students. Officials have revoked visas and questioned legal statuses, leaving many students scrambling to secure their futures. Now, CSUF students are speaking out and sharing their concerns.
So far, it has been a really nice experience. I find everybody in the administration here at Cal State Fullerton to be amazing. However, like everybody knows about, these past few weeks has been really stressful to me. Definitely because I work in Titan TV. I want to be a journalist, so I consider that sharing your personal opinion and using your First Amendment right is something crucial in everybody else's life. And therefore, these past few weeks, I have been kind of silenced due to the current state of the government. And it has really affected my life.
I know a lot of international students, especially through athletes and also through my fraternity itself. We have a few guys who are international students, and I get very concerned sometimes about what's going to happen with them. What's their learning situation going to be? Do they have to go home to their home countries and stuff like that? So that's only sometimes the thoughts I have, especially with them.
I just thought that it was a bad idea to revoke the student visa overall, because I feel that eventually, once the students get their degrees, they can contribute to the economy.
The CSU system released a statement on April 25th stating that legal statuses have been restored and the termination of 15 student and exchange visitor program records have been reversed as they continue to help those impacted by the situation. Some international students say the government revoked their visas or stripped their legal status over minor issues, like traffic tickets. Others say they still don't know why they were targeted, leaving them questioning the outcome of this situation.
It just makes me concerned about other students, especially student athletes or anything else like that too, just because students are here to learn and it makes no sense of why too.
It's definitely a lot of stress, but thank God they're already starting to give visas back. However, it's not the same, but I just hope everything gets better.
The Trump administration's immigration policies are continuously shifting. International and immigrant students at CSUF are holding on to hope and are fighting for the right to stay and get an education. This is Raylene DeLeo with OC News.
President Trump has indicated that federal funding could be withheld from cities and states that do not comply with his administration's immigration enforcement policies. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order calling the Attorney General to identify sanctuary cities and review their access to federal grants and contracts. The goal? Suspend or even terminate funding. One of the targeted sanctuary cities, Minneapolis, is pushing back, arguing the order is not only harmful, but illegal. City law currently prohibits officers from enforcing federal immigration policy or asking about someone's status unless it relates to another crime. The White House argues cities must cooperate with federal immigration efforts, saying they're aimed at removing public safety threats. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says the city will continue to challenge the order in court, standing firm on where its priorities lie, addressing violent crime and protecting its residents.
And President Trump is once again at odds with the media, this time targeting the New York Times over an article detailing his ongoing legal dispute with Paramount Global, the parent company of CBS News. Trump accused the New York Times reporters of having what he called Trump derangement syndrome and suggested that outlets' involvement could amount to legal interference, including in elections. But the Times didn't back down, calling the threat part of a long list of attempts to intimidate independent journalism. In a statement, the paper said the law protects a free press and supports an informed public. The report in question covered efforts by lawyers for both Trump and Paramount to reach a settlement over a lawsuit connected to a 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris. Despite growing tensions, the Times says it will continue to report the facts.
Coming up after the break, how does your phone know an earthquake is coming?
And we'll introduce to you the new coach at the helm of CSUF's women's volleyball team. Stay tuned.
I have a question about
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes!
Make a plan today.
Did your phone get a notification when the earthquake hit San Diego recently? Justin Rosette has a story on the technology that allows us to get the notification before the shaking starts.
On Monday, April 14th, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck San Diego County. But before the ground even started shaking, residents were shocked by a notification alert sent straight to their cell phones.
So the Shakeler Earthquake Early Warning System, which is operational in California, Oregon, and Washington, is a public safety system. And what we're trying to do, the main goal, is to get alerts to people so that they can be safe before the strongest shaking from the earthquake reaches their location.
Robert DeGroot is a physical scientist who works at the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, Earthquake Center in Pasadena, California. I am here at the California Institute of Technology, where DeGroot and the USGS have been designing Shake Alert, a public earthquake early warning system designed to do exactly what it did on April 14th in San Diego: alert residents of potential earthquakes early, potentially even saving a life. Of the millions who received the notification, many were left amazed, realizing that this sort of technology truly has the power to save lives.
Yeah, I was at work. I was sitting at my desk, and so I saw the alert, and then immediately seconds later, I started to feel the shake. I work in a cubicle, and so both my desk, my monitors, as well as my cubicle just started shaking. I think it's especially helpful for people who are older or maybe need more time to be able to prepare or defend against an earthquake.
I was actually in upstate New York at the time of the earthquake, so while I got the alert, I was far enough away from the earthquake to not feel its effects. It's extremely important. In those few seconds, that gives you the time that you need to find cover, hold on to it, and wait out the shaking. You can save lives potentially, depending on how strong the earthquake is.
For DeGroot, he and his team hope that the April 12th emergency alert was just the first of many to have such a wide impact.
One really important thing that we want to do is make sure that early warning products and services can be available in many different places. So right now, what a lot of people talk about is getting alerts on their phones, but we want to get them into things like trains and into shopping malls and into schools and protecting first responders.
For the Southern California residents who are worried about the potential big earthquake, DeGroot hopes that the Shake Alert technology will help when the inevitable strikes.
It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. There are going to be big earthquakes here. They've happened in the past. They're going to happen in the future. That's just the reality of it. But of course, Shake Alert was really designed to deal with the biggest of earthquakes, the events that are much larger than even the one that happened in Julian back on April 14th.
If you did not receive an alert for the earthquake or are interested in how to receive alerts like this, you can download the free MyShake app and make sure you have your wireless emergency alerts enabled on your smartphone. This is Justin Rosette signing out from OC News.
California is ranked as the world's 4th largest economy, but for many Californians, that prosperity is hard to see in their daily lives. Violeta Sanchez investigates the growing wealth gap and what it means for young adults in Southern California.
In Orange County, luxury high-rises apartments like these symbolize a booming economy in California. With rooftop pools and lounges, rent can reach up to $5,000 a month. But just blocks away from the glitz, some residents are barely getting by.
Rent is expensive, and because the cost of living is expensive, those that have jobs are doing okay. Those that do not have jobs are not doing okay.
On one side of the street, it's luxury apartments, enhanced security, and high-speed internet. On the other side, it's aging homes, rising rents, and families barely holding on. It's not about economics. It's about the gaps between two Californias living side by side.
In neighborhoods that have houses built from the 50s are now renting by the room and still cost more than $2,000 a month. Tiffany Zamora is a part of the growing group of young adults who say the California dream feels out of reach.
It's harder to hold your money for your own personal things, because as college students they want to go out, they want to discover what else is out here, and it kind of makes it difficult to I need to save money for my bill. I need to survive.
Students like Tiffany juggle with school, work, and the anxiety of entering one of the most expensive housing markets in the nation.
I had to be a little bit stricter on the things, because housing was a lot more expensive, and I think that's a lot with a lot of students here now, because I hear people's rents, and it's definitely $1,000 plus. It's nothing below, and it's rare to find anything below that.
According to a recent study by the Public Policy Institute of California, nearly 55% of adults ages 18 through 34 are living with family, which is the highest rate in over 2 decades. Experts point to decades of restrictive zoning, underbuilding, and wage stagnation, all fueling the wealth gap.
I think it's an affordability issue that needs to be addressed directly for lower income people. And I'm right back to housing again. If you've got to spend, more than half of your income just to have a roof over your head, that's a big problem.
In a state that leads the world in innovation, the question now is, can it lead in equity? Because as California climbs the global ladder, more of its residents are being left behind. In Fullerton, Violeta Sanchez with OC News.
A bloom of toxic algae has struck our Southern California coast recently. Reporter Hope Ferris has the story.
Sea lions, whales, and dolphins have been washing up on our Southern California beaches recently. The culprit is a harmful algae toxin.
An algae bloom is an unusual event in which a lot of phytoplankton or macroalgae reproduces very, very fast and is kind of visible to the naked eye in terms of the water column and such.
This bloom is domoic acid, a neurotoxin produced by harmful algae, which multiplies in the right conditions, such as California's rich marine ecosystem.
Blooming in that it is responding to a large pulse of nutrients and to oceanic conditions that are favorable to its growing and reproducing really, really fast. And so it winds up becoming just very, very abundant.
This toxic alga is not new to the region, but its effect and timeline are different than previous years, with the outbreaks emerging earlier and affecting more than 100 dolphins, which is far more and sooner than this time last year.
And this toxin is fat soluble. And one of the things that happens when you have a toxin that is fat soluble is that it can bioaccumulate. Bioaccumulation is the process by which a toxin accumulates more within the body of an organism as it gets higher up the food chain. By the time you get to a sea lion is eating larger fish that have eaten lots and lots of tinier fish. And so energetically, the sort of net energy and biomass of many, many, many plankton have concentrated to result in the sea lion eating the equivalent of a lot of phytoplankton that has toxin in it.
This is now the 4th year in a row an algae bloom has affected the Southern California region. So now the mammals are being affected. It has become a regular occurrence to see sea life washed up along the beaches, like in Laguna Beach with its population of sea lions, or on the shore of Huntington Beach, where a gray whale was beached just earlier this month.
Make sure that they're not a danger to people around, and capture it, usually with like a net, and put it into what's essentially a large dog kennel, bring it back to the Marine Mammal Rescue Center, and the triage and treatment really depends on how advanced the condition is. A lot of animals, the only real humane thing to do is euthanasia, unfortunately.
Researchers and members of marine mammal centers urge people to take precaution during these times, especially when seeing or approaching a marine mammal. With OC News, I'm Hope Ferris.
The LA Kings have unfortunately blown a 2-0 series lead to the Edmonton Oilers. For the scoop on playoff hockey and more, here's Hope Ferris.
Thanks, Jonathan. Before we get into everything about playoff hockey, let's talk about the real highlight of CSUF sports, both men and women's golf. Both men and women's Titan golf had spectacular seasons. On the men's side, they placed second at the Big West Championship with a team score of 17 under par. 3 players golfed their way to the top 5, earning them spots on the all-tournament team. On the women's side, we see a historic win with the women taking the Big West Championship title for the first time since the program was reinstated in 2009, winning by 13 strokes after shooting 13 over par. The team dominated the 3-day tournament. The team is now getting ready for their NCAA regional location, which is set to take place May 5th through 7th. Now, onto the battle of one of the best sports trophies in history, something we have not talked about enough. Let's talk all about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's start in the East. in the West. Not my favorite, but we're going to talk about it anyway. We have the Jets and the Blues. The Jets won the President's Cup this year. They're slated to do pretty well, considering last season they didn't make the playoffs, but they did spectacularly well this year. As a first seed in the West, they played the St. Louis Blues, who were one of the last teams to clinch after kicking out the Boston Bruins for not winning. They're currently at a tied 2-2 series. Earlier this weekend, all the teams in the West were tied 2-2. Something crazy. The playoff series have been insane. We have the Stars and the Avalanche next. Pretty boring, pretty normal. We have back-to-back fourth series, a win, a loss, a loss. It is also tied it is now at 3-2 with Dallas leading. They play again tomorrow. And then Nathan MacKinnon, one of the star players for the Colorado Avalanche, is still trying to get his cup. We have everyone's least favorite team, the Vegas Golden Knights, playing the Minnesota Wild. Vegas is currently leading 3-2, much to everyone's disdain. And we have Marc-Andre Fleury, one of the best goalies for the Minnesota Wild, who is going through his last playoff run as he is retiring at the end of the season. And then, as Jonathan said, we have the Kings and the Oilers, who have met for the fourth straight season in the playoffs in round one. The Kings won both home games at the beginning of this series, and are now down 3-2 to the Oilers, and it is sudden death for them. Tomorrow, when they play in Edmonton, we have Connor McDavid still trying to win after losing in the Game 7 Stanley Cup playoff last year to the Florida Panthers. He is coming full blood, and that game is going to be very intense. Everyone should watch it. I'm very scared for the Kings, needless to say. And then let's go to the East, which is arguably my favorite. We have the Battle of Canada, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Senators, the Ottawa Senators. And this is, the Maple Leafs are trying to make it through. They're trying to win. They're trying to do good. A Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup in 35 years. And that's really intense when it comes to hockey. And then we have the Battle of Florida. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers have the highest percentage of winning. They won the Cup last year. It's a pretty average series. It's currently tied. It's actually at 3-1 with the Panthers playing tomorrow. We'll see if the Panthers will take a spot in round 2. I'm trying not to be biased here. We have the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. The Capitals are currently up 3-2. They're playing right now, actually, with a 2-0 lead against the Canadiens going into the second period. Alex Ovechkin scored a playoff goal. Super fun. And Alex Ovechkin is trying to keep a go on his historic season after taking over Wayne Gretzky for the all-time goal scorer, almost at 900 now. Pretty remarkable. And then we have the first team to make it into round 2. We have the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils, who fought very hard, but alas, did not make it through. Now, I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to win. You can make your own predictions on what I've said, but hockey is a superstitious sport, and I'm not trying to jinx my team. I want them to win. I'm sure all of you would too. If you have time to watch some playoff hockey, it will be going on the whole month of May, and make predictions on who you think will win. I have my favorites, like I said. I won't tell you. And that is all I have for you today in the world of sports for my final time this semester. Back to you, Jonathan and Janet at the desk.
Last fall, the CSUF volleyball team finished with a disappointing record of 4-24 during the off-season. A search began for a new head coach who could bring new life back to the program. Peter Gibbs has a story on the new leader of Titan Volleyball.
Oh, feed in! That's feed in!
Once a Titan, always a Titan. Cal State Fullerton has a familiar face to be its new volleyball head coach, Nikki Cannon.
It was such a tough decision for me because I genuinely love this place. And it always felt like home to me.
When the head coaching position opened up, Cannon knew she had to apply. During the search, she showed promising traits to the CSUF search committee and co-chair Sarah Perry.
She was able to communicate to us her ability to set a leadership program for these student athletes, her enthusiasm for making sure these student athletes are students first, but also, more importantly, making sure they're good people.
After a 3-year stint with the UC Riverside Highlanders, Cannon is back with Fullerton. She hopes to use all of her past experiences to build something with the Titans.
All those different skill sets and abilities to network and, manage a program, a staff, a team, everything from like, the fundraising to the organization, everything that goes on behind the scenes, and just like the connecting with players has helped me.
To implement her vision, Cannon hired some trusted coaches from her time with UCR. For Kenny Ma, knowing what Cannon brings to work every day made the choice easy.
There's nothing but good things to say about her. The number one thing is she's just always positive. She's loving. She doesn't have an ego. She allows me to do my thing. She completely trusts me, and I feel like I can be myself and I can be the best person I can be.
Head coach Nikki Cannon joined the Fullerton squad on February 4th, 2025 after a long national search from Fullerton. And since then, she's trying to take the team to new heights, just like this.
Year one, Big West Conference tournament, top 6. That's our goal. Once we make that tournament, it's anyone's game. Like in any given Sunday type of conference.
I think a lot of our coaches, we have very similar goals and expectations for our program. Rebranding our program, building a brand new culture. We call it like the new era of Fullerton volleyball. We want to bring success to the program.
Cannon and her team know that the journey will have its ups and downs, but the new bench boss wouldn't have it any other way as long as she's at Fullerton.
There's just some moments when you're like, where you're supposed to be. I could not have lived with the thought of anyone else being in the seat. Like, I just felt like this is where I belong.
Once the spring semester finishes, Coach Cannon and her team will be hard at work to establish her culture with brand new transfer students and incoming recruits. For OC News, I'm Peter Gibbs.
With 40,000 students at Cal State Fullerton, they still struggle to get a consistent crowd to every sport event on campus. Gavin Sanders has a story on Titan Athletics and what they do to get more and more students out to games.
Cal State Fullerton is one of the most known and biggest Cal State universities. With an astounding number of students, you would think that the gym and ballpark is always packed, right? Wrong. Titan Athletics is attempting to change that.
As the Director of Marketing and Fan Engagements, our department's focus is revenue generation, but the bigger focus too is student attendance. We have the reputation of being a commuter school with 40,000 students already attending. We don't even average 1% of that of the game, so our department tries to get really creative, figuring out ways in which to get students at those games. So we oversee areas related to social media, fan engagements, as well as community outreach. And our department and our intern staff has been really instrumental in reaching so many goals we haven't seen in almost a decade. Like, for instance, this past season we had our Beat the Beach tailgate game and had over 1,900 students, and that's a number we haven't seen in such a long time. But that energy, that excitement is what we're trying to bring back. It really is a testament to my staff because they're really creative in ways of which trying to get students out. We try to collaborate as much as we can with the Barstool account. They've really been helpful and instrumental in us really getting to that student market. Even had a arm wrestling match with a carrot guy. That's something that students are familiar with. So trying to get creative with theme games too, like Country Night, our Swifty Saturday, and different ways that we can leverage and connect with the demographic that we're targeting. But I think as a former women's basketball player, I know what it's like to not have fans in the stands. So my biggest goal day in, day out is to just get them here, but then maintain the product, making sure it's fun. Our game day operations team does a great job, and we're learning and growing and adding each game. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen, but I really feel like we're taking, so many leaps forward.
Titan Athletics is a vital resource to every Cal State Fullerton home game. They want to bring all the energy out of all the fans. They also want to make sure the fans have an experience of a lifetime and keep coming back.
This is my second season as game day operations coordinator. In my role, I am the one that carries out the game day operations. So that includes our PA scripts, video board, the music, in-game promotions, all that kind of stuff. And that's really our product here at Titan Athletics, getting obviously the fans there, but then making them want to stay and have a fun, engaging experience for both the fans, students, alumni. And as an alum myself, I really would like to, try to get people more involved, especially at the games. We can get people in the seats. Obviously, we can't control winning or losing, but making our product something that people want to come to the game, so regardless of the result. That includes our promotions. We got a bunch of great sponsors. We got cheerleaders, that kind of stuff that we're in charge of. The mascot is part of my operations as well. Just making the environment fun for both the student athletes and our fans.
I'm one of Carolyn and Bryce's interns. I work a lot of the baseball games and I hand out a lot of the promotions. It's really cool to see a lot of my teammates and just like the student body in the stands, but I think it would definitely be cooler to just like have more student body engagement at like games in general.
Titan Athletics always gets the job done. This is Gavin Sanders. Stay classy, Fullerton. OC News.
There are definitely some opportunities this weekend for student turnout.
Definitely, baseball and softball will be playing in Fullerton this weekend.
Coming up after the break, you may have to be more creative with your Mother's Day bouquet this year.
And entertainment anchor Violeta Sanchez takes us inside the world of entertainment and Beyonce's latest tour.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays. Ready!
We don't have time for spills. Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Flower bouquets for Mother's Day might seem a little less colorful as the industry faces economic issues. Viviana Garcia has more.
The route of farm fresh flowers to a mother's arms seems simple, but the venture from across the world is shaky. Billions of dollars of delicate goods are imported from South American countries each year, and with the intervention of the United States, the floral industry faces challenges.
For a lot of countries, American relations have been ones of interference, occasionally military intervention, certainly of exploitation, and one-sided free trade.
Dr. Newfield shares how the 1991 Andean Trade Preference Act made to reduce coca production shows U.S. involvement and aided in the Colombian cut flower business.
To some degree, there's a bit of performance here. We're going to have trade. We're going to have bilateral trade. We're going to open up certain tariff barriers. We're going to create this relationship that justifies, in 1991, American presence, active role in the war against the drug cartels, against Escobar and the Medellin cartels in particular. So the fact that they had this flower trade seems to have been covering it up a little, right? It's like a fig leaf covering up the relationship that was developing.
About 30 miles away from campus is the Los Angeles Flower District, the largest wholesale flower market in the United States, and it may be impacted this May.
Vienen de Colombia, de Ecuador, de México. Ahorita está muy difícil la flora en Ecuador porque como está lloviendo bastante, está afectando a la flor.
15-year business owner says that May 10th, known as Mexican Mother's Day, sees the most sales, but things appear different this year.
Por los aranceles todos están subiendo y no hay ventas y cada día va bajando más el negocio porque hay demasiada competencia y todo está subiendo.
Last year, Colombia exported the most flowers to the United States, where the climate conditions are fit to produce high amounts of fan favorites.
Hacerlo adecuadamente, el tiempo de que se le pone el agua y donde deben de estar, si es planta del sol, en el sol, y la planta de sombra, pues en la sombra.
Cut flowers' average lifespan is 7 days, but going the extra mile for a globally recognized holiday remains present.
Mi opinión que compren una planta como esta. Este es un anturion que esto le va a durar mucho tiempo, mucho tiempo.
Bouquets may cover the month to show appreciation to moms, and gratitude can also blossom all year round. Viviana Garcia, OC News.
Now let's pass it over to Violeta Sanchez for the latest scoop from the world of entertainment, including stars, performances, and drama.
Thanks, Jonathan. We've got a star-studded lineup tonight. Beyoncé is lighting up the stage, Kim Kardashian's robbery trial is coming up, and Ellen Pompeo gets her Hollywood moment. Get ready for a pumped-up good time. Priscilla Pointer, known for her roles in films like Carrie and Blue Velvet, has passed away at 99. She left a lasting mark on both film and theater. Let's take a moment to reflect on her life and career. Pointer's acting career spanned over 6 decades with notable roles across film, TV, and theater. She became a horror icon as the mother in Carrie, starring alongside her daughter Amy Irving. Pointer appeared in films like Twins and shows like Dallas and The Waltons. Starting on stage in the 1950s, she later transitioned to film, often collaborating with Amy and her former son-in-law, director Steven Spielberg. Born in 1924, Pointer was beloved for her warmth and remarkable talent both and off-screen. She passed away peacefully in her Los Angeles home, leaving behind a legacy that won't soon be forgotten. Beyoncé is back and making a bold statement. The superstar kicked off her Cowboy Carter tour in Los Angeles with a powerful theatrical performance that celebrated culture, family, and fearless creativity. Beyoncé opened her Cowboy Carter tour Monday night at SoFi Stadium in epic fashion, dressed in a white fringe bodysuit belting American Requiem as pyrotechnics exploded. Visuals behind her flashed messages like Reclamation of America and flag-covered coffins reading History Can't Be Erased. The show celebrated Southern Black culture and family, featuring Beyoncé's daughters Blue Ivy dancing during the song America Has a Problem and Rumi during her Protector. The nearly 3-hour spectacle continues May 15th in Chicago. Nearly a decade after Kim Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint in Paris, the high-profile trial of her alleged assailants is now underway, with the reality star expected to testify. The trial of 10 men accused in the 2016 armed robbery of Kim Kardashian will take place in Paris. The suspects, mostly in their 60s and 70s, have been dubbed the Grandpa Robbers. Prosecutors say they posed as police, tied Kardashian up in her private residence, and stole nearly $10 million in jewelry, including her $4 million engagement ring. One defendant has admitted to being a lookout and even wrote a book about the crime. Another, believed to be the ringleader, has expressed remorse. Kardashian is expected to testify in person on May 13th, reliving the traumatic night that made headlines worldwide. Grey's Anatomy star Ellen Pompeo has cemented her place in television history, this time quite literally. The longtime actress just received her very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, honoring over 2 decades of impact on the screen. The actress, who also serves as an executive producer on the show, reflected her journey and the city that shaped it. She thanked fans for their continued support over 21 seasons, saying the Grey's team is forever grateful. At the ceremony, Debbie Allen praised Pompeo's influence, noting how many young women enter the medical field because of her, while creator Shonda Rhimes honored her as a living, breathing icon. You can catch the season finale of Grey's Anatomy's May 15 on ABC. That's all for me for entertainment this week. Back to Janet and Jonathan at the desk.
It is not Halloween, nor is it a costume party. It is a community that you must see to believe. Reporter Brianna Delgadillo has more on the story.
You may have seen these animals roaming around Cal State Fullerton. And no, they are not the mascots. They are called furries.
The furry fandom is a group of people who are very keenly interested in what we call anthropomorphic animals. So that just basically means kind of a combination of human and non-human animals.
The furry fandom revolves around personas, animal-inspired characters that reflect each member's personality or alter ego. From wolves to cats to neon-colored foxes, each persona is uniquely personal.
Oh, my name's Bedbug, and I'm just like, I try to become the opposite. So like a little dirty bug that's in your bed. I try to be like a giant green thing.
So this is Snips. Snips is an original species that I came up with called a hollow beast. And a hollow beast is basically like the spirit of Halloween, but in like a magical, like goofy kind of animal.
Clubs like Cal State Fullerton offers a safe place for people who may feel different. Many members say their personas help them express themselves in ways the outside world doesn't always accept.
To be a part of this community, I love it so much. I think more people should definitely lessen the stereotypes, lessen the amount of stigmatism there is in the fandom. Just know that we are people. We love everyone around us. We're exactly like you and me.
However, the furry community still faces judgment. From internet jokes and even targeted harassment have made many furries, like Snips, hesitant to share their identity openly.
A lot of us are afraid to really tell people who we are and what we do because unfortunately so many people love to focus on the negatives.
Much of the stigma comes from misunderstanding. While society often portrays furries as outcasts or fetishes, the reality is more complex.
News reports that little kids wanted litter boxes in their schools. That turned out to be not true.
We don't do that. We don't use litter boxes in the school. I don't know where they got that from.
The group let me thoroughly embrace what it means to be a part of the community. While it's not all about the zoo, it's about creating new friendship, discovery, and a new place called home. Whether you are a part of the furry community or simply curious, there's no denying that this subculture has found a welcoming home here at Cal State Fullerton. This is Brianna Dogadillo with OC News.
At the Bronx Zoo, one baby bird is getting 5-star service from a puppet. That's right, zookeepers are using a vulture hand puppet to raise a chick without ruffling any more feathers. This baby king vulture isn't being fed by its parents. Instead, it's being cared for by a hand puppet. Zookeepers at the Bronx Zoo say some king vultures can neglect their chicks, so hand feeding is often needed to ensure their survival. But to avoid the chick becoming too attached to humans, staff use a puppet that looks just like a vulture. The goal is to help the bird develop natural instincts without human imprinting. The zoo shared a video of a feeding session showing the puppet gently delivering food, helping this young vulture grow up strong and wild.
And my next life, I hope I'll come back as a baby bird. That doesn't sound too bad.
Hey, maybe a puppet comes with that.
Thank you for tuning in tonight. Our next show goes live shortly.
In the meantime, follow us on social media at Titan TV, CSUF, and at OC News, CSUF. Have a good night.